Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be finishing up this journal using the All Things Roses kit from the Junk Journal Studio. And I have a part one of this video where I was doing some of the decorating of these pages. I will link that in the description. I had a lot of comments on there about that you'd like to see me finish this journal up. So I am trying to get this done today because I'm trying to get this journal finished to get some of my unfinished projects done. So I'm going to be creating some journaling cards and some tags for the pockets that are still in my journal here, and I just used some craft cardstock that I had, and I am adding to this one some beautiful French rag paper. This is from the 1800s. It's beautiful paper. The texture of it's amazing, and I just thought the French, I don't know, I just really liked it with this journal. So and then I'm just going to glue down this beautiful lady here, and then that's going to basically be it for this journaling card. I'm not doing a ton to it. I'm trying to keep them simple, also keeping plenty of room on the back so that they are open for adding your journaling or, you know, whatever you want to on the back. I am rounding the corners. I just feel like that makes the journaling cards look a little bit more polished. I just like them with rounded corners. So I'm going to tuck her in this little tuck spot. Some of these end up getting moved around from the place that you see me kind of placing them, but I will do a flip through at the end of this so you can kind of see how these turned out. But again, here is another journaling card. And I'm just taking pieces from the All Things Roses kit and using those as my focal images. So this one had some tickets, which I really think are just super cute. So I have those running down the left side, and then I'm going to glue down this oval over the top, and that's just going to be my, it's going to be my focal image. You can see I had it upside down, so fortunately it hadn't dried yet. I'm using Barely Arts glue today, and then I'm going to use the corner rounder again from We Are Memory Keepers there to round the corners. I'm also inking all the edges, but I'm not leaving that in, so you don't have to see me do that a bajillion times throughout this video. And then I cut these two down to tag shapes. So I have this awesome vellum tag, and I thought it would be fun to kind of layer these. So I went ahead and just lined these up at the top, punched a hole in them, and then I did need to adjust the angle of the tag just a little bit up there at the top. And I'm going to glue these kind of layered together. So I'm starting off by just gluing around the hole reinforcer. That way I can layer some things. I want things layered behind the vellum and in front of the vellum. So I have one of the little ticket pieces and one of the little like T-card pieces, and I'm just trying to decide how I want these to look here on my tag. I really like how this looked and turned out. I got those vellum tags from Hobby Lobby, and they're pretty sturdy vellum, so I was really excited to that. You'll probably be seeing me use these a lot here in the future. I've had some in my stash forever, and I just don't ever pull them out. So and then I just tied off a little piece of this lace that is the same lace that I used on the edges of the pages, just to try to tie all of that together. And so I'm just trimming that down. I tied it on there really simply, so if you wanted to change how that's tied on there, you could absolutely do that. And then I'm just going to start gluing everything down. So this little tag here is done in the same way. I'm actually starting off with a piece of, this was a cutoff piece from the printable, and it had a really beautiful pattern in the background. It's kind of hard to catch on camera, but it's just really subtle. And so I glued that down on the left side here and trimmed everything down. And then I'm going to add my images. And I kind of played around with these. In the end, I just kept this really simple with this sort of oval section and then just one little label up at the top left-hand corner. Sometimes I don't want to add too many things and let them, have them competing. So I just have her down in the bottom, and then I'm going to add again some of the lace. This is the same lace trim that's on the edges of the pages. I just cut it down a little bit so it wasn't as wide, and I'm just stapling that with my Tim Holtz tiny attacher. And then I'm going to move on and do another kind of taller, skinnier tag. This is really with the idea of some of those tuck spots in mind. I decided to pull in some vintage music paper because this T-card that I'm using behind the roses, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's a really faint like music paper in the background, so I just thought that would be a fun way to tie those two together. Again, making that into a tag shape. I have the We Are Memory Keepers punch that does that, just makes it really simple. You of course could just use your scissors or, you know, create a little template for yourself to do that. I've done that in the past as well, but that little punch is super simple and easy to use. So, and then I just layered everything on top of that. I have one of those little ovals, and then I just glued one of the little tags or labels, excuse me, down right in the middle of that. And then again, just adding another piece of that lace, trying not to add too much of it. I don't want to add too much bulk. This is a small journal anyway, and it's going to chunk up anyway. So moving on to this tag, I have everything kind of laid out the way that I want it, but I just felt like something was missing. So I pulled in some more of that French rag paper, and I really feel like it just added just enough interest over there on the right side of this to kind of help balance everything out. So I'm using my glue stick to glue that down, and then my Barely Arts to glue everything else down. I did trim this down height-wise just a little bit off camera there, and then I, again, used my punch to shape it, added some distress ink or archival ink actually in ground espresso, and then stapled on a little bit of lace, and I'm going to tuck that into a pocket. So this is the final flip through for this journal. You can see I also added some book corners here, and instead of doing a full on closure for this, I decided to just add some of the lace that I have used in the journal. That way you can use the lace in the journal if you want to, or you can keep it as the closure. I just didn't want to add any type of permanent closure. So I'm going to go ahead and flip through, and so you can kind of see where everything ended up. So there's one of those journaling cards with that beautiful French rag paper, some of the trim. Here's that tag. This paper here that is making the pocket, I can't remember if I said this before, but this is a handmade paper that has been embossed. It's beautiful paper. It's from In Faith Inspirations. I don't know if she has any in her shop right now, but that's where that paper came from. And then there's a tag that I created for that tuck spot. Here's a little belly band with that journaling card in there. And then these are something I created off camera, which are some hidden paper clips. And these are removable, so you can take them off and move them around the journal however you would like. But then, of course, you can add something to them, and like a piece of paper or journaling card or whatever you want to. But you can add them around the journal. I really like that. And I love how they kind of peek out over the top of the pages as well. I really like things hanging off. So I like how those turned out, and you can kind of see how the rest of these tags. This paper here, this corner pocket, was also from In Faith Inspirations. There's one of the journaling cards I did off camera. Another tag that we did earlier. Here's that last tag that we did. And then another belly band with a journaling card. Again, just some of that French rag paper and craft paper. Here's another one of those hidden paper clips, and another journaling card that I did off camera. And then this one is actually from the printable collection. It looks like a little postcard or calling card, and it just was the perfect size. So I put some paper on the back of that, and then you have this last pocket here with this tag. I guess this is actually one of the last pockets here with the journaling card tucked in it, and then the trim. So that is everything for this journal. This journal will be available on my website soon, so check there if you are interested. All of the links for everything will be in my description, including my website, my Facebook group. I'd love to have you join me over there. Also Instagram, if you haven't followed me over there. And then if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.